Okay, welcome back to Unreal Engine ND. Okay, we're going to put the enemy name above the health bar. We have the enemy name here. We did a U property, and if we bring up the character blueprint, that's the Wukong. If we bring up character blueprint, you can see we have enemy name here, and we put Chimera. Let's put that on the HUD. So we got here, let's do enemy health bar. Okay, we need to put an overlay on there, but if we drag this over, you'll see can't have child widget. So what we need to do is click on this, right click, and do a wrap with. And then wrap with overlay. And how we're going to lay this out, we're going to have a vertical box and two horizontal boxes. Let's first do a vertical box. So a vertical box. And then we're going to have two horizontal boxes. I have a horizontal box. I'm going to drag two of them on top of the vertical box. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to take the enemy health bar and we're going to put that one down here. Take the vertical box and we're just going to say fill. So you go to the vertical box and come over here, horizontal and vertical alignment. Just go ahead and say fill, horizontal, fill, vertical. And then for this one is the first horizontal box. Let me close that one. For the first horizontal box, you want to say fill. And then you want to do 0.7. So the first horizontal box, you do 0.7 and you fill that. Then you do the second horizontal box, you do fill, and you want to do 0.3 because that'll equal 1. So now that we have that, and you want to say fill like that. So then what I basically did, I got the vertical box, fill, take the first horizontal box, fill completely with these two, and then do 0.7, do a horizontal box, fill 0.3, fill those, and you take the enemy health bar and you just say fill, horizontal and vertical, and that is going to fill the 0.3% of this vertical box here because it's kind of wrapped in there. But now we need to do a horizontal box and we need to do a text. And if you take the text, drop that right in there and say fill, and then you can say enemy, or let's just say name, and compile and save. And we're going to fill that in later with the code to get the enemy name. Right now I just want to see if it's going to show up, and it does. And of course, you'll see name is completely huge. And that is because if you click on font, maybe if we do 10, I should have looked at my other project to see. Actually, let's go back to the Chimera blueprint, and click on nameplate, draw size 40. Let's do 60 and or 50 and 15, because we had that down to like 5. Let's see if that makes it look a little bit better. Yes, so that is what the problem was. So yeah, so it's still a little small. Let's make it bigger. Let's do 60 and 20. So that's a little bit better. You get the idea. And what you can do is you can have it set up so where when the player gets close enough, it will show up. The nameplate will show up when the player gets close enough. Of course, we're going to have it when, with the behavior trees, there we go. So it's a little bit better. But let's get the name on there. But what we can do later on when you do the behavior trees, you can have it so when, if the enemy sees the player, then the nameplate can show up. Of course, we can do that later in the behavior tree tutorial. But for now, let's just get this going. And if you want to, we can put a spear up there later. So you can put a spear up there later, so when the player enters the spear, the name tag will show up. That could be like an aggro spear or something. All right, let's get this going with the actual name of the enemy. Okay, so we need to get this on the nameplate, the enemy name. If we go back to text and say text, enemy name, we need to create binding. And what I am going to do is I'm going to rename that. If you click on it, hit F2, you can rename that. And then I need to disconnect it. And we're going to need a variable, which we already have, and that is enemy. And then we need to do is valid. Now look at that, it shows up. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't know why. If anybody knows why, let me know in the comments. Okay, what we have here is we need to get the enemy name. So we say enemy name. We need to get the enemy name. Now, what we need to do is we need to set the enemy name. Let's go over here to variables and just type in enemy name, and this is going to be a text. Change variable. Yes. So I did that earlier, but make sure it's a text, enemy name. Then what you need to do is come over here, drag it, set it, take this, and that'll convert it over to a text. Because this is an F name, and is valid. Drag that over there. And we take this, drag that over there, and what we need to do is enemy name, we need to set it. Okay, so we have that, but that's if it's valid. We need to check to see if it's not valid. What we need to do is we need to be able to cast Chimera blueprint or the enemy name. Yeah, to the Chimera blueprint. So what we need to do is we need to come over here and say cast to enemy class. So the enemy class, that is the C++ one. So if we say cast to enemy class, you want to do enemy class. And is not valid. Come over here, and then what class are we going to be casting to? The Chimera. The Chimera blueprint. Alrighty, and then as enemy, we want to get actor of class. Not get all actors, just get the actor of the class. And then you can cast to Chimera blueprint. So if it's not valid, we are going to cast to the enemy class. We're going to get the Chimera blueprint and get the actor of the class. We're going to cast to that, and then from there, what we need to do is enemy name. We need to get the enemy name, and then you want to set the enemy name. And that will set the enemy name if the class is not valid. This is a way to be able to, if you don't have pins to be able to cast to the blueprint that you want, then you can do it this way. You can do cast to enemy class, you get the Chimera blueprint, and then you get actor of class, and then you cast to the Chimera blueprint. That is the one way that I've figured out how to do it. If there's a better way, let us know in the comments. And this should work if we hit play, and it does. As you can see, it says Chimera right above there. So that is all I have for today. Bye for now.